it. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature public participation. For this meeting, the Conservation Commission is convening by Zoom video conference as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Please note that this meeting is being recorded, streamed live on the internet, and broadcast on Rutland's channel 192, and some attendees are participating by video conference. I probably am the only one who can display on the video right now, but that can change if someone needs it. All supporting materials that have been provided to the members of the body are available on the town's website. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda. Simple ground rules. I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, I will go down the list of members, inviting each by name to provide comments, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking, and please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you. Please state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in a discussion with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. For members of the public, after the board commission members have spoken, the chair will afford public comment as follows. I will first ask members of the public who wish to speak to identify themselves by name and address. Once I have a list of all public commenters, I will call on each by name and afford, well, it says 3 minutes, will afford reasonable time for comments or questions that may be directed to the commission or to the presenters. When engaging in conversation with anyone, please do so through the chair. Finally, commission members, this is a remote meeting. We must vote by roll call vote. So let's go to our first one. Let's review the minutes of February 18. Good Lord, has it been that long?
Make a motion to accept as printed.
Skip's in the room with me. He has just moved to accept the minutes as printed. Do we have a second?
I'll second that, Melissa.
All right, calling the roll. Mr. Cannon.
Yes.
Mr. Clark. Aye. Melissa Danza.
Yes.
Jared Gentilucci.
Yes.
And Crane, aye. Also, motion carries unanimously. Oh, good. We are well behind time. So let's get to our first NOI, which is Solar Systems LLC. The solar going into the Heights. I will let, who wants to begin? Maria or Rennie?
I can do it.
All right, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Let me just share that screen so everybody can see it. Hopefully you all can see the screen. Hopefully it's readable.
Yeah.
Now, as I recall, all we were really waiting for was the DEP number, but it's been long enough ago that if you wouldn't mind just giving us a fast overview of the project, and we'll be happy to follow along as well as we can.
Sure. So just finding that page for you. This is a solar project at 86 Maple Ave. It's about an 87.7 acre parcel. The project comprises approximately 22 acres. If you don't mind scrolling to a later plan that actually shows the parcel, the solar arrays, so that we can show where that is. Back in the summer, we did an ANRAD for this, so all of the wetlands that are shown are based on that ANRAD and the agreed upon lines.
Right, just a moment, and I will find that exact thing. Rennie, do you remember which part that would be in that she's looking for? Because I have all the parts you sent out for the IRT review.
It would be in the first document that I sent, the overall
There
site
it
plan.
is. Yep, that's what we're looking for, I think.
Anyway, I can keep talking about this while we
Sure.
find it.
I think that's actually the other project.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. So you go ahead and keep talking. I will pull this up.
All right. So the project has been designed to minimize impacts to resource areas, and the only impact that we're actually looking at is approximately 1.1 acres of buffer zone. We're maintaining a minimum of 25 feet between wetlands and the project. Throughout, for stormwater, we've included a report and checklist. We meet all of the requirements for Massachusetts stormwater standards. There are limited grade changes, and the erosion controls include silt fence and straw bales at the limit of disturbance, as well as control blankets where needed. As discussed at the last meeting, the site will be following standard best management practices, which include things like making sure the site is stable before the site is closed each day. I think that those are really the highlights. There weren't really a lot of questions last time. The main reason that we weren't able to close is because we did not have a file number. We do have that now. There were a few comments from DEP that came in, but they were, I think, mostly aimed at conditions to include in the order of conditions if the commissioners feel that they're not already covered.
I have a vague recollection, Melissa, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember that you were looking at that and forwarding them to Tamika for inclusion. Do I remember correctly? Do I remember incorrectly again?
I don't think we had the comments at the last meeting.
Oh.
No,
So
we
that-
haven't
Right,
received the
because
comments.
they came with the file number. If you want me to read them, I'm happy to do that and talk
Yeah,
about
I
them.
don't think I have that in my email, so I haven't seen them. And the portal is backlogged, so there's nothing new on there.
Okay. Sure, I'll go through each one and just read it. So the first comment is erosion controls and a small amount of tree clearing are shown in riverfront area along the southern property line. Alterations within riverfront area should be quantified in the NOI or eliminated from the plans. There's a little bit more to that comment, but the bottom line is we don't actually have anything in the riverfront area. The comment is confusing the riverfront area with the water protection zone area. It's a little difficult to see on Zoom, but the riverfront area is only in the south part of the property below the pond. That's the only part of the stream that is perennial. Above that, it is not. So there's kind of a light teal line that denotes the 200-foot riverfront area, and then the water protection shed area is a light blue line that is also 200 feet from resource areas, but it's not limited to the perennial stream. So
Right.
the portion that they're discussing in this comment is kind of immediately west of the pond area where the existing access drive is. That's like kind of right on the edge of that blue line. And that's not riverfront area, that's watershed protection area.
Right, yep.
It says the NOI does not contain soil logs confirming the depth to annual high groundwater and bedrock at the proposed infiltration trenches. We did a geotechnical report and review of the site, and we do have a test pit that was done by those infiltration trenches. So if you want that information, we're happy to provide that. We just ask that you could include it as a special condition on the order of conditions, just as a reminder to send it to you.
Sure.
But we have actually looked at the soils there and confirmed that they match what we used in our calculations. The applicant should confirm that meadow will be created beneath the array and appropriate seed mix sufficient, topsoil, minimal bedrock. Alternatively, the hydrology calculation should be revised using an open space cover type. Herbicides are not recommended for maintenance of the property. We have seed mix shown, and we have, I believe, a couple of seed mixes shown on the sheet C2, the one with the huge amount of notes at the beginning. So I think that that's just a confirmation on our end that, yes, that is what we're showing here and that is what we're specifying. So I think that that's covered, and that was more just to make sure we say it for you. And then the last comment is many solar arrays in Massachusetts experience erosion problems during construction. Phasing of the project, extra erosion control measures, and frequent monitoring are recommended to prevent erosion control problems, particularly in areas with steep slopes, stony soils, or where panel configurations can cause gullies to form at the drip lines. We had previously discussed that everything is phased. The site will be cleared and stabilized, but then as construction actually starts, they'll be constructing one area at a time and making sure that it's stable before they move on to each one.
Roughly how large an area in each of these, I don't want to call it phases, steps?
I'm going to pass that to Rennie. Rennie, do you know approximately like how big a panel set is and kind of how many they usually get in a day?
Yeah, so I mean, each panel is roughly 3 foot by 6 foot, just for some scale. You know, as far as the area of each phase, though, is, you know, in terms of how much they get done in a day, we haven't really dug into that on this particular project. I mean, you know, as mentioned in general, how we'd like to perform the work is, again, to clear the entire site, you know, but to come through on the back end of that, immediately do any of the minimal amount of earthwork that we need to do. And then as that's wrapping up, you know, start installing the post and the racking and then mounting the panels, you know, as we go. So we haven't really, you know, gotten into the details of any kind of phasing or anything like that, but, you know, in general, that's kind of how we want to move forward with it.
Right, so the area that we'd be working in is really dependent on what can be done in a day, and that honestly may vary depending on the day and the weather and what equipment and stuff they have available for the project phase.
Okay,
But
so you don't have,
yeah,
I'm just going to pick a number at random. So you don't have a 5-phase plan. You're just going to do it day by day with stabilization each day.
right, that's essentially is to make sure that everything is stable as we go.
Well, I guess, sorry for just a question from me, if I could. When we say stabilize at the end of each day, what exactly?
That's what I thought I heard Maria say earlier.
Yeah, that's why I'm just trying to get clarification on.
Standard practice, so if there's exposed soil or something like that, then you typically put a tarp or some other form of erosion control over it to make sure that it doesn't move if there's a rain event or something overnight. If there's an area that's done, that's completed, then typically you start feeding it to make sure that it won't move at all.
And apologies, this may just be me not having done a lot of development work in this state, but is that typical? I mean, that, you know, what we do in many other areas is, again, we install the perimeter control and any other erosion and sediment control measures that we need. But effectively, once we start working on the site, we're going to be working on all different areas of it. And again, there's clearing, there's some minimal grading, there's driving posts into the ground, there's underground wires and conduits, so there's trenching, there's equipment driving back and forth. So, the work itself is phased, but really we are working on essentially the entire site the entire time. I just want to make sure that that's clearly understood.
Right, but at a given time, any area that is not being worked on is stable. And the whole site is left stable at the end of the day. Things like leaving trenches open is just a standard practice that is not done for safety reasons and for erosion control. Here, if you go to a later sheet in here, I think it's the last one or the second to last one, there's actually a list of erosion and sediment controls and details about them. It should have some just details about the actual installation of them. Yes.
Oh, that was it right there.
Yeah, that one. So this is the kinds of erosion controls that we've proposed. We have a stabilized construction entrance. We have the silt fence and straw bale barrier at the limit of disturbance for the project that I mentioned earlier. Mm-hmm. We have additional silt fence as needed to help stabilize things, and we have erosion control blankets. I think we also have a stockpile detail a little further down that shows what I was discussing, where if you have a pile of loose material that you put a barrier around it and a tarp over it to make sure that it's not going anywhere.
I noticed the plan calls out hay, and I noticed that you said straw. We really prefer straw. We don't like the invasives.
We actually require straw in our conditions.
We can absolutely do that, and if you could put that as I think it's actually one of your standard conditions.
It is.
It is,
anyway,
yes.
So I think it's covered in the order of conditions. My apologies that was not caught in the language on here.
I'm only sensitive to it because I've had a developer put up hay, because that's what was on the plan, before they got an approval to ensure that it was straw. So I'm just sensitive to that, that's all.
If you want, as a special condition, we can update the plans for you with that edit, because the intent really was for it to be listed as straw.
I don't know that that's necessary. Excuse me, necessary as long as we all agree that it's straw. We know that it'll be in the conditions. So I don't think you need to run a new set of plans just to change hay to straw. Melissa, do you agree?
Yes, I'd agree.
Okay, thank you.
There, did that cover all the comments from DEP?
It does.
Good. All right, I'll go down through everybody one at a time for all of the commission members to see who would like to ask questions. Mr. Cannon, anything?
Nothing here.
Mr. Clark? He says nothing. Ms. Danza?
So I think I had a couple of suggestions from the last meeting, and one we've kind of touched on in terms of phasing. I think prior to construction, some sort of phasing or construction sequencing plan would be helpful for approval. And, that's not set in stone, but can be updated as necessary. And it's really just a general you know, which section, you know, if you want to break it down to A, B, C, D, you know, is going to be done first. And then which way are you kind of moving? Not necessarily needing like how many rows are you doing a day, but just to be kind of on the up and up and knowing which sections will kind of be more open than others. And then I think at the last meeting, I also noted just to ensure that all the seed mixes that you're using are native seed mixes. And then kind of on the top of the topic of the erosion control and stabilization, I guess to kind of clear that up on the Concom side, you know, we're not necessarily looking for a complete stabilization at the end of the day, but doing, you know, so that making sure, you know, at the very least your perimeter control is sufficient. We do require tarps on stockpiles, and they're lined with either silt fence or wattles. You know, if you have a slope that's unstable, that should be either hydroseeded or blanketed at the end of the day. And it's kind of in correlation with the EPA's construction general permit. And I think one way to kind of correlate those is maybe having a condition that all of those monitoring reports that would be required under the construction general permit just kind of be copied to the commission as they're done, you know, every 7 or 14 days. So that's kind of my either conditions or comments that I have.
I just want to point out that there is a typical construction sequence included on the sheet that we were just looking at.
Yeah, I guess I'm looking just like as a, even if it stays the same, just as a final, like, okay, we're getting ready to start, like nothing has changed.
Okay, yeah. I just wanted to let you know that there was a little bit more detail actually on that sheet.
I guess I should have unmuted myself before I started speaking. There are quite a number of words that I'm not blowing up enough to read here, but we've reviewed a number of these. But I'm not sure that the entire Concom saw this plan particularly. But okay. Melissa, that's it?
Yep.
Jared, do you have anything?
Yeah, just one question. Maria, you mentioned the test pits that you had done for the infiltration trenches. My recollection is those trenches were relatively shallow. I was just curious if you happen to remember from the test pits what depth seasonal high groundwater was at those locations?
The moisture is encountered at 6 to 8 feet.
Okay. And I think your trenches were maybe 2 or 3 feet down at most, I want to say, something like that.
Yeah, they're only 2 feet deep the way that they're
Okay.
designed.
Okay. Yeah. So you have plenty of separation, so you're good there. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, Peter, other than that, I don't have any other questions.
Okay. Mr. Friedman, I know that I probably cut it off, so I just wanted to give you the opportunity to comment before we go on anywhere.
Nope, I'm all set. I appreciate it though.
Great, thank you. Are there members of the public who have questions or comments about this project? Hearing none. Are we ready to close this hearing?
I'm all set. You know, I just had those 3 suggested conditions for the final phasing, the native seed mixes, and the inspectional reports. If anyone else is, I guess, willing to consider those.
This is Jared. I'm good with those as conditions. I'm good with everything as well.
I'm all set. Sorry, Jared.
All right, so having said that, I'll accept a motion.
I'll move to close, Melissa.
Skip is seconded. Roll call vote. Clark was an aye. Cannon,
Aye.
Danza,
Aye.
Gentilucci,
Aye.
Crane, aye. Motion carries. This hearing is closed. We will work on the orders and be ready to sign them at the next meeting.
Peter, can I just ask, Melissa, do you want those 3 things that you stated added to the special conditions?
Yeah, and I can email you the wordage.
Yes,
And
that
then
would be
we
great.
can actually still move to issue Peter and just submit it electronically because they are accepting e-signatures.
Well, they are, but the Registry of Deeds is not.
Okay.
And so if we wanted to make a motion to.
But we could still submit it and it starts the 21-day appeal.
That's true. We can do that. And I'm not saying we don't do that. I'm just going to say that when it comes time to sign the order, that part of the motion should be to allow me to sign on behalf of the entire commission. And Tamika and I will worry about getting the paperwork signed and mailed to the applicant.
Okay.
Do we think there are any other orders, special orders, than those 3? Because we could actually move, no, I don't want to do that because we can't read it. No, okay, I don't want to make a motion on signing the orders. So Tamika will make the orders based on Melissa's feedback and suggestions. We will get them together and vote on them at the next meeting when we've all had a chance to read them, okay?
Or I can write them out probably by the end of the meeting if we wanted to come back to it by the end. And I can read them exactly how they'd read.
Oh, that'd be fine. That's
Yeah,
fine with
okay.
me.
I'll work on those then.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Maria, can I just ask you to shoot me an email of where you would like me to send them to once I have them all set for you?
Sure thing.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thus endeth for now that hearing. So let us now continue the hearing for Brintnal Estates. And I would just like a motion to continue till today is the 7th, the 21st. Skip just made the motion.
I'll second it.
Awesome. Let's go through a roll call vote. Cannon,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
Danza,
Aye.
Gentilucci,
Aye.
and Crane, aye. Fantastic. So that's 2 down. 7:10, and we're only 28 minutes behind. Awesome. Melissa, I keep forgetting, is an RDA a hearing or just part of the meeting?
Just part of the meeting.
Okay, so I don't need to open it formally, that's fine. So we are now here to discuss the request for determination of applicability for the Devereux Foundation, 60 Miles Road. Just a minute, and I will pull that exact. I know I have it. Let's make Maple Ave. All right. There it is. And we do rotate. And page. Mr. Hultgren, you are on, I believe.
Good evening. Carl Hultgren, Quinn Engineering, here for an RDA for the Devereux Foundation. They're the applicant. Property is located at 60 Miles Road. It's the Devereux Advanced Behavioral Health School. Devereux is proposing to demolish 1 building and construct 2 new buildings in order to meet the school's population needs. The work includes 6 new parking spaces and some walkway improvements. We've got a stormwater system that's designed to manage runoff in accordance with the DEP Stormwater Handbook. We've got stake silt fence proposed on the downhill side of the work. The work is, it's over 500 feet from Molten Pond Brook and over 340 feet from the BBW at the bottom of the hill. So we filed an RDA with the commission just to sort of put on record that we're doing work there. We're outside of jurisdictional areas, but just wanted you guys to know that the work's going to be going on and we have some erosion controls, and that's where we are.
All righty. Now, several of us went to Devereux one Saturday and did a little bit of walking around.
Okay.
And we think we have the basic idea. I'm going to let Melissa and Jared talk about it more than me because my memory stinks.
I think the only questions that I had, I think there was a good amount of invasive species, I think mostly knotweed out there. Is there any, I guess, plan of action, you know, since you're disturbing more areas to prevent that from taking over more of the area?
So one of the buildings is located in a lawn area. And actually, Peter, can I ask you to,
Sure.
Can you pull up the, in the RDA on page 11 of 21? I think that'd probably give you a good idea of where the areas are. Perfect. There you go.
Wow.
So there's two buildings proposed. Those are labeled on the plan. It says proposed building / walkways and parking. And then there's a stormwater basin that's sort of on the end of the driveway, if you can see that. So the two buildings are located in areas that are currently lawn. The stormwater basin is an area where there's, it is wooded now, so there's gonna be some clearing there. There's no specific plan for invasive removal, but there's gonna be, that basin is gonna be, the embankment on the low side is gonna be a fill situation. So there'll be fill with loam and seed on top, and so any invasives, I think, are basically gonna, if there's anything left after they strip the topsoil, it's gonna get buried, and then they'll finish it with new loam and seed on top of that.
Yeah, I think my concern was there was a lot of it along that steep slope on the south side, and it does curve around to where that basin was going. So because it thrives kind of in that disturbed soil, I guess, you know, even though you're removing it, it can spread so quickly, especially dependent on the time of year you're going to be doing this in. So I guess just preventative measures, you know, if it does happen, you know, whether it's just included in an O&M plan for the basin itself, just so that doesn't become dysfunctional.
Yeah, we can add that to the O&M plan, sure.
That's really all I had.
Jared, any other thoughts from you from our walk?
Yeah, based on the site walk and taking a look at the drawings are pretty detailed with respect to erosion controls, grading, drainage. I think probably my only question, since obviously a lot of this is way outside of any resource areas, but I think, Carl, my only question for you, just out of curiosity, is I think you had shown some soil testing that was done on site. I was just curious what you found for soils out there, because I noticed your basin is labeled as an infiltration basin, so I'm guessing you have some decent soils out there.
The soils are, they're okay. I think the parent soil was, I didn't do the testing at the basin myself. It was a sandy loam, I'm pretty sure. But we meet the 2-foot separation, and we've designed it so that it dewaters within 72 hours.
Okay.
There's an outlet low enough to the floor of the basin where it doesn't hold a lot of water, so it should dewater, no problem.
Okay. And I forget, did you have any for water quality? Was it primarily using the basin for water quality, or did you have any other like proprietary structures on site?
Yeah, there's no proprietary structures. All the water quality is held in the basin, and we use the 1-inch storm because we're upgrading the surface water supply.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. That sounds good. Yeah, Peter, that's all I have.
Okay. Skip, do you have anything you want to know about? Mr. Cannon, anything from you?
Nothing, thank you.
All right, do we have any reason to not accept, approve, whatever the right verb is, this RDA? Oh, wait. Are there any questions or comments from the public? Hearing none. I re-ask my question.
I'm all set.
I'm all set.
Same here.
It's not a hearing, so we don't close.
All right. No, I'm all-
So are we ready to sign?
I am.
So this would be a negative determination, correct, Peter?
Yes.
Yeah.
They are well outside the 100, and I don't see anything that would make that I don't see anything jurisdictional for us here.
I agree. I'm fine with the negative determination.
Can I get a motion? Motion from Skip, second.
I'll second it.
Roll call. Cannon,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
Danza,
Aye.
Gentilucci,
Aye.
Crane, aye. Okay, then, wait. we
Peter,
need-
does that motion include approval for you to sign it on the commission behalf?
I was gonna say, we need to have a friendly amendment to that motion. We'll revote.
Okay.
Friendly amendment, or do you want to revote? I'll make the friendly amendment.
We've got the friendly amendment. Do we need to second it, or are we okay? Oh, go ahead. Somebody second it for the heck of it.
I'll second it.
All right, Cannon,
Aye.
Clark, Danza,
Aye.
Gentilucci,
Aye.
and Crane, aye. So we will get that paperwork in the mail to you just as soon as we can get me and Tamika together, and me a signature, and her drop it in the mail.
Very good. I appreciate it.
Carl, do you want me to just send it to the Paxton address?
Actually, that's fine, actually. Yeah, if you don't mind doing that.
Yeah, okay, no problem.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. 3 down. Time to open a hearing for a notice of intent for CB Player Development Corporation for 0 Maple Ave, also known as Maple Hill Estates, lots 3 and 4. Mr. Fortruba, you are.
Hello. Hello,
Hi there.
this is Julian. How are you?
Oh, just great, thanks. How about yourself?
Pretty good. Well, what we're proposing, we just went through the process of getting the subdivision approved through the planning board. And the road and all the drainage and all that was outside the 100-foot. Lots 3 and 4, which is coming up. Right now, lot 3 is within the 100-foot buffer, as you can see on the plan. We have some grading to make all of the site work so that the drainage goes into the drainage system that was reviewed and approved by the planning board, and actually Quinn Engineering reviewed it. So we're doing work within 100 feet. We're staying out of your buffer that you guys like to have now. Over the slope is where we've got the silt fence and hay bales, which are already installed, and that's what we saw when we did our site walk. It's all nice and clean. It's all, actually, the site is very much looking like what it looks like on these plans right now. They have a lot of equipment in there, and they got it done pretty fast, so it's in really good shape. And it's 2 single-family homes. Well, lot 3 is 1 single-family home. So we're asking
Right,
for
there's
an
a
order.
single NOI for both, right?
Yeah, we have 2 separate ones. We got one for lot 3 and one for lot 4.
All right, just a second. Let me pull up lot 4, because I know
Email or copy?
hay bales have been installed, is what I've been told.
Correct. Silt fence and hay bales. And unfortunately, I know that you want straw bales. I'll make sure I make the note of that from now on to all my plans. They used S&M hay bale erosion control people out of New Hampshire, and they show up and they do like a mile of it in 3 hours. So before we could even turn our heads, it was installed. But we'll take good care to make sure that if anything gets replaced, it'll be with straw.
Julian, this is the one that we went to a couple weeks ago, right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, just want to make sure I have it on.
Yep. That's the one.
So it looks like lot 3 is only slightly touching the 100, right?
Correct. But the corner of the garage is in it, and some grading is
And
that
the
corner
grade.
of the lot going down towards it. But we've taken care of all the drainage questions and all the drainage through stormwater, full-fledged stormwater, Massachusetts stormwater report
Right.
during the subdivision, and all the lots and houses and driveways and everything were taken into account.
And lot 4 is more in the 100, but again, not tremendously so. Again,
And that's a 3-to-1 slope, so it's not it won't be that, it's not much different than what was there. A little
Right.
steeper, but not too much more. And we got real good soils up there, as far as for erodibility and all that. There's been no issues. I was out at the site 2 days ago and walked along, and nothing's left the site. It hasn't even come towards the hay bales, and the entire site's been graded to shape where the road's going. So we're very, very, very fortunate with it.
okay. Starting at the top, Mr. Cannon, any questions?
No questions.
Mr. Clark, any questions or comments?
No, just long. Sure, it goes to straw.
He said, no questions as long as he replaces with straw.
Okay, we're on it.
Ms. Danza,
Is there a DEP number or comments yet on these two?
I don't think we did get them, but I don't have them. Hold on, let me make sure.
Yeah, I only saw the one for Wachusett.
So I didn't see it. So I guess I got the Wachusett one, but I don't see the emails. Hold on with that email. I'm gonna do something real tricky here. You may lose me. This is not what I do, guys. So I'm surprised I'm still here.
I have faith in you.
I got one spot to look and see if it may have come in, but if you didn't see it, most likely it must be. This is around the time when everything really hit hard.
Tamika, you haven't gotten any emails on these two, have you?
The only emails I've gotten is just the electronic submission that Peter posted on the website.
Okay, so nothing from DEP and the file numbers besides the Wachusett?
No, and oddly enough, because I've been checking the DEP website.
Yeah, they're
and
really behind.
The project isn't even listed at this point. Yes, there hasn't been anything.
Nothing.
Nope. I don't even see it there.
I guess we can just continue. We'll continue. I don't know if I can voice activate and authorize continuing until we get the DEP number. I'm sure that the owner will be no problem with that.
I guess just in the meantime, make sure those back slopes are stable so that, the rain that we've been getting doesn't completely wash them away.
Make sure we don't want any issues. We will. Nothing? No, we don't see anything. I'll keep looking. As soon as I get something, I'm sure you'll get it too, but if I hear something, I used to be able to make a call, but it doesn't work that way anymore.
There's a lot of new people.
Mm.
All right, anything else, Melissa?
Nope, I'm all set. I don't know if Jared has any questions.
No, I'm all set.
All right, so I will happily accept a motion to continue till, yep, and Skip's already said it.
Peter, should
I'll
we check with
second.
the public first if they had any questions?
Oh, thank you. What a good point. I forgot something about that. Would anyone from the public care to comment upon lots 3 or 4 for 0 Maple Ave, also known as Maple Hill Estates?
Yes, this is Dinara Stilitsky from 125 Maple Avenue.
Okay, anyone else? I just want to collect names before we... No? Okay, then please, Ms. Stilitsky.
Okay, I have a question about lot 4, and I was wondering if there's a way to rotate the building so it's not in the buffer zone and the grading isn't either?
Can I answer that?
Please do.
No, we can't because of front setbacks and side setbacks. The front setback is, if you look at the plan, you can see it right in front of the house, is right up against the front setback line. And then the dash dotted lines going around the plan, those are side setbacks. So the further we go away from the street, the closer we're getting to the wetlands. So we're as far away as we can.
Oh no, I meant rotating it where it's more on the left-hand side and the garage is in the back.
Then the driveway would have to come in and be, now we'd have a driveway going closer into the wetlands.
Right.
It just
So,
wouldn't, it really wouldn't look as aesthetically pleasing also as it will the way we have it. We tried to fan them out evenly and try to keep all the foundations about the same height going around along the road. And I would say this is the best fit for the site.
can you see my cursor?
We're not actually filling any wetlands, and we're not, we're actually.
Yes, I
keeping
see your cursor.
You're 15 feet away also with no disturbance, so.
Right. So this
We'd like-
line right here, nothing's
That
allowed to
is-
be forward of that on the property. So even if they rotate the house, it would still,
Be in it.
the front of the garage can't be further forward than that. So you're going to end up doing more fill in the buffer in order to make up for shifting anything.
Even if the garage was in the front and the house was in the back?
Absolutely, because I mean, if you look at the length of this compared to rotating it along this axis,
Mm-hmm.
there is no way to do it without more fill, and it's also, well, I don't want to get into that topic, that's not appropriate, but I'm not sure from a wetlands perspective that that's any actual improvement.
Okay, that was my question.
All right, again, from my perspective, it's more fill within the 100-foot because the house has to be, the body of the house, if you rotate it, has to go further back towards the wetlands. So you need more fill to make that level.
Okay, thank you.
Peter, this is Jared. I was just along those same lines. I think if you were to rotate the house, the other thing that would be a little more challenging would be the grading out behind the house. You'd probably end up with steeper slopes back there. If all that's 3-to-1 now, that's a really good slope to work with. That's mowable, that's easily stabilized. But if you rotate the house 90 degrees, those 3-to-1 slopes probably would get steeper. Either that or the house ends up with probably very little, if any, backyard to try to maintain a 3-to-1 slope. So the grading would get a bit trickier with the house rotated.
Yeah, I also think that you then couldn't do, what, Julian, is this a walkout in the back?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I don't think that would be possible if you were trying to go across the grade. At least not easily so. I can be wrong about that, but all right. Anyway, any other questions from the public? Any other questions from the commission or anyone else? So we have the DEP number. Do we need any special orders, do we think?
We don't have a number.
Oh, we don't have this is when we don't have the number. That's right. This is 3 and 4. I'm already confused. So I will happily take a motion to, and Skip just made a motion to continue.
I'll second.
Oh.
Who do I take?
Take your pick.
Jared, I'm gonna do you this time.
All right.
You missed out on the last one.
Roll call vote. Cannon,
Aye.
Clark, Danza,
Aye.
Gentilucci,
Aye.
Crane, aye. These are continued. Both 3 and 4.
So,
Right. So now let's open 7:25. Oh yeah, we're 35 minutes late.
when are we continuing to about
April 21st.
April 21st? All
Yes.
right. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I'll put you at the beginning of the meeting, Julian, and I'll keep checking in
Thank
the
you.
next couple weeks too to see if the DEP number comes in. So I'll have the orders ready if it does.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, now I'm going to open a hearing for notice of intent for Deanna along 134 Wachusett Street. Mr. Vortruba.
Hi.
Let me
Yeah, are we gonna put a plan up or?
trying, getting there. I'm just
There's a lot
slow
of-
today.
Oceanfront. Yeah.
How much of it do you want to see, Jillian? You want me to zoom in or keep it wide like this?
No, I'm good. I'm good with that. Okay. This is Julian again, speaking on behalf of Deanna Long. This one, we do have a DEP number 277-0550. And what we have here is also a single-family house lot. It's going to be a 10-acre parcel. The owner of this property owns a house right next door. You can see the driveway next to them. They're looking to put a house behind on the 10 acres. And to get there, we have to cross this perennial stream. And the way we're proposing to cross it is by putting a box culvert, a open bottom culvert. So the bottom is going to let the natural water and flow continue. Straddling over it. We have stream crossing calculations that were submitted with the notice to show that our areas are big enough for this type of a crossing. We've got it defined on, well, I say erosion control, we'll just have to put in your straw detail as a condition to make sure that they use the proper stuff. I've got because of fitting in the structure itself, there's a little bit of an alteration of 298 square feet of area. It's under the 500 square feet, so I'm asking to not have to replicate that. We'll just make sure everything is nice and clean and flowing when we're done. There's a detail of how we're going to put a diversion flume pipe in, sandbag it so the water continues through while we prep the area for the precast structure to be dropped into place. Once it's dropped into place and backfilled, flume pipe gets pulled out from one end and water continues. So it's a very low grade, there's no steep grades on the driveway and or on both sides of the driveway. It's a very flat piece, so that shouldn't be an issue. So that's what we're proposing. So we're hoping to get an order of conditions.
Questions. Let's do it the opposite order this time. Jared.
I saw that there were some comments that came in from DEP. I wanted to just
Yeah.
confirm if those have all been addressed on the latest plans.
I believe they are. One of their comments, they're talking about culverts to be embedded a minimum of 2 feet. So it's pretty obvious the person who looked at the plan didn't know what they were didn't understand what they were looking at, because we're not embedding anything, we're straddling it. So to preserve the natural flow and stratum of the stream. So, but everything else is, we realize once we're done with this, we got to go for the 401. That's step 2. So. That's what we got.
Okay. I don't think I have any other comments, Peter.
Okay. Melissa?
Julian, can you just touch on the other comments in terms of from DEP about the ORW and the flagging bank and the impacts?
Okay. Well, the flagging, the ORW, yes, we are in an ORW because it goes downstream. It goes to a DCR brook that eventually goes to a reservoir. The impacts to the banks, when this is all done, there will be no impacts because we're straddling over the existing channel that's there. So as far as flagging the banks, that's kind of a irrelevant situation at this point because we're going to go right over it. We're not going to alter it, so we're not going to have any bank loss. So we don't need to do any bank replication. I believe the size that we've got will straddle over that and work for this driveway. When it's done, it's going to function exactly the way it's functioning as it is before we start. So that's that part. Then the mass stream crossing standards, those are in the notice. There's details in his calculations. And then the last one, they recommend the crossing not be built until the building permit for a house is acquired. I really don't know where that comes in the Wetland Protection Act, but that's okay.
I think that's more so that so a crossing isn't built, unnecessarily if a building permit can't be pulled.
Okay. All right. Well, so I think we're pretty good to the next step. Once we get the order, we will go then for the up for the water quality cert. I'll be getting one group out of the on board and then go to the next. So that's what we have.
Melissa, does it make sense for us to have acquisition of the 401 quality cert as one of the special conditions, or do we not need it because we have a generic statement, or I think we have a generic statement that says you have to get all the permits you were required to get?
We do, but it doesn't hurt to just put it, if nothing else, it serves as kind of a finding that it's required.
Okay.
As a condition, in the order of conditions.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. That works.
Anything else, Melissa?
Was there a dewatering plan on this set?
Yeah, I'm proposing to put a flume pipe in the channel.
Yeah, I remember talking about it. I just can't remember if it's on the approved plans.
Yeah, it's on the actual plan. It shows how we're gonna divert the water during construction to make sure that we don't cloudy the water is going downstream while we're working on this. And it's actually an ideal situation. Sandbags on the top, the water will go through the flume pipe, put in the crushed stone, put the structure down and backfill, and everything should be, this is a very unique, easy one for once.
Yeah. Are you okay with the condition of having the dewatering setup kind of inspected by the commission prior to?
No problem with that. Yeah, no, that's fine. That works. Definitely can.
All right, I think those are all my questions.
Great. Skip? Skip's all set. No?
All set.
Fantastic. Any questions or comments from the public? Hearing none. I think we know what we want the special orders to be. At least we've talked about them. So I think I can take a motion to close because we have the DEP number.
I'll make a motion, we close.
I'll second.
There we go. Gentilucci,
Aye.
Danza,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
Cannon,
Aye.
Crane, aye. Motion carries. We will take care of the specials and get the orders at the next meeting.
I can do the same thing for this one as I'm doing for the other one. I'm writing them now, so
Okay.
Thanks, Melissa.
give me a couple minutes and I'll be there.
All righty.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Julian, I think
I'm
you're off
shocked.
the hook.
I'm shocked that I handled this.
You did very well.
I'm very
Thank you.
proud, Julian.
All right. Well,
Nicely
you guys
done.
all have a nice evening
Thanks, you too.
and stay healthy. That's number one priority on everything.
That's right.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.
Great, thanks. Talk to
Bye,
you soon,
Julian.
Bye.
Okay, we have a couple discussion points. The first one is a building permit, and I can't pull it up because something isn't working right on Viewpoint. Very briefly, somebody wants to put a shed on his property. He's within the 100 feet. And I wasn't sure how to guide him on what paperwork he needs to have, if any. So I just wanted to have a discussion with the commission about it.
Do you know how big the shed is gonna be and like, I guess, your estimate of how far in the buffer it is?
I believe it ends up being, again, this is memory and this is a problem that I have. Here, let me try to open it one more time. Because I would prefer. Oh, you were there, you son of a. There it is. Perfect. All right. Oh, now I'm gonna have to do work again to go back to this. I wish I could have gotten in earlier so I could have gotten everything straightened away, but. This will take me a minute to just pull up all the paperwork. And this is, oh, 278 Palmagussit, is that what that says?
Peter, I've got 276 based on the meeting, the agenda.
Okay, 276, thank you.
Yep.
Okay. So here's this marvelous stream. The house is back here, and he's trying to put the shed right about here. Memory tells me that it's about 60 feet from the stream.
Okay, so I guess my thinking of why I was asking is there is the exemption for accessory uses like sheds and decks as long as it's farther than 50 feet.
So he's just outside that. Okay.
So as long as it's like a normal size shed and
Yeah,
not, you know, some massive garage.
New shed here. Let's get even more info. Details, please have real details.
Actually, on that plan, it had edge of pond pretty close to it, although the scale is a little wonky.
Yes. Oh, because I was thinking it was here. I got it exactly wrong. Let's go back to here. So he's 58 feet.
Although he might be if that
He's
scale is.
he's over here.
So I think the shed is at that little corner on the right.
Yeah, pretty. It's yep, right about here, because that's that notch. And this is Edson Pond. So that puts him here. Because the other thing I looked at, try and figure some of this stuff out. Edson right there, I think. Okay, so this shows the house here, and he's basically, yeah, I mean, it's about here. So he's, what can we discern from the plan? Even if we put it at the front edge, oh, 55 feet away, okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure how accurate that scale is, because if you turn on the aerial maps, there's kind of like a existing pad or open space there already where that shed is probably going, and it's kind of like right at the 50-foot mark. Yeah, so if you go to local and then the 2013 one.
Right, and if we now do this, and then go from here. So the edge of the clearing is at 50 feet.
So being that close, we may suggest doing an RDA, but that's up to everyone too.
Yeah, there is no earth movement planning, but he is planning to build on site. That's the only other information I have on this. So I don't mind telling him he should submit an RDA.
I go along with that, Peter.
Okay. I will put that in the comments later. Next, email on the Beaver Crossing on Bigelow Road. Oh gosh, now I gotta find that in my email. Tamika, did everybody get that email?
Why are they? Sounds like you want to remove the beaver. That's the way I understood that. If that's the case, Board of Health, it's not us.
Right. So I agree that I think all we should do is refer her to, it's Board of Health. That's good. I wasn't certain that they were the right people. Thank you, Skip. I don't think we have any other advice for her, right?
Yeah, either that or even talking with DPW if they have any signs, but that kind of be more, yeah, town approval versus Concom to put up
Yes.
a sign.
To put up, yeah, that's absolutely, you're right, DPW, but there's no such thing as a Beaver Crossing sign.
Oh, I'm sure there is. You can have anything made.
I'm sure the town is not going to have a special sign made for this.
No, it's not something on standard practice, at least. Usually it's just kind of big game like deer and moose and stuff that could actually damage cars.
Yeah, and kill people.
Right.
And beavers, while they can gnaw at the tires, are not likely to damage a person very much. All right. Then Tamika and I will construct an email saying all that to her. All righty, let's skip a bit. I know we have two more, but I see Jared, try again. I see Kevin Jarvie's been hanging out for a long time. Yes, wake up, Kevin.
Good evening.
First I'm gonna, so Kevin, why don't you go ahead and start speaking? I'm going to try and clean up my screen a little bit while nobody.
Yeah, just to give Kevin Jarvie, Alta Vista Farm, Hillside Road, and just to give everybody a quick little recap. I don't know how many months ago, quite a while ago, in the fall time, early winter, I approached everybody with hopes of putting in a disc golf course on a piece of property on Hillside Road, and the request from the commission was for me to look at getting the wetlands that run basically north to south on the whole 35 acres, a strip not right through the middle, but it goes the whole way, getting them flagged to find out exactly where they are, and then from that point moving forward and getting the possibility of a crossing in there. I wanted to have a clubhouse or the center part of the piece. I wanted to have basically the disc golf course clubhouse and have that accessible from Hillside Road. And to do that, you would ask that I get the wetlands flagged. And I've done quite a bit of research. I mean, maybe obviously not as much as I maybe should have, but I can't find anybody that would come out here and do it for any sort of a reasonable fee. It's astronomical amount of funds, and I just didn't know if there's a way to get these wetlands, find out where they are, if they could come out, somebody come out and take a walk, and then see if it's a feasible thing for me to do. But I mean, I'm getting quotes of $12,000, $15,000, $20,000 to flag wetlands and to do some initial drawings for where a parking area could be and stuff like that. And it's just a lot of money to put out to not even know if I can move forward with the business. And I was hoping that maybe the Conservation Commission might have another suggestion, or if there's another way to figure out if it's feasible or not.
So does somebody have some good advice here?
I think it's kind of a catch-22 in the sense that, I think what we would see in the field would kind of be what we can see from aerial maps and Mass GIS. And from that, I think there's some spots that you could probably work around if you do need to cross. But in terms of an approval, at any point in time, you'd have to have an actual engineered plans with those flags on it anyways. So I know it's kind of frustrating to even try and figure out what you want to do in the first place or determine what's feasible. And that's where, maybe even talking to those companies and not necessarily having them come out and officially delineate, the whole area, but maybe have them assess, specific areas that you want to work within. So if there's areas that you can kind of exclude from their scope, or even just, for the meantime, just say, if you looked at this site just holistically, through mapping, just with your eyes, come over and look at it, what would be your ideas in a general layout, and then maybe, move forward from that way, and then kind of put up the hard numbers in that sense.
Yeah, I'm kind of not speaking your language. I'm trying to figure out how to, so I call a company the same, I've called 4 now, 5. I just had, I don't know if Julian's still on the phone, but he just charged me almost $3,000 to do 600 feet on the other piece of property. I mean, I couldn't get anybody to come out. I haven't, as soon as no offense to you guys, as soon as I say I need this for the Conservation Commission, they just say, well, then we need to go all in. That's exactly what they say. If I'm going to do it and I'm going to put my name on it and put it in front of a Conservation Commission, we need to do it the right way. We need to do everything, which was, and they're just rattling off all these things, and it did. It got up to $25,000, $30,000 on one of them. And even just what Julian just charged me to do the 600 feet, I mean, it was $3,000, and I asked for 3 flags, a north, a south, and one in between, and it was $3,000. And then that is about 1/10 of the area I need to do. I need to do 2,000, 3,000 feet.
And I think that's the problem just with the site itself, that it is, so wet, and that the length that it runs.
Mm-hmm.
But
could you pull it up? Is it possible to pull it up so when we're talking, is it so everybody kind of understands? And I guess you say this is the catch-22. Maybe I'm living it. This is why all the houses go up. The only way I can afford to do it is to know I'm going to get the money back in a house, because I'm not going to get it back in a disc golf course.
Right. Yeah. And because we require those, they say they have to go all in, because that's kind of what Concoms typically require, is that if you're disturbing so much area, especially if you're going to be doing a crossing, then those areas really need to be defined, to a hard kind of set. So it can't, when you're altering that kind of area, that's where it can't be wishy-washy, and that's kind of where those harder costs come in.
And when you say, and this is just naive on my part, and you say alter, what does that really mean when you alter an area? Is that just any sort of?
So any disturbance within 100 feet of a wetland or 200 feet of a perennial stream or a river. So that include, your agricultural exemptions, that's different, but
right.
when you step off the agricultural side, then it's anything from taking down trees to grading to, some vegetation like landscaping or pruning, that kind of stuff is exempt. But when you go taking multiple trees, or you're clearing an area or brush, then that's an alteration as well.
And what if, I guess here's the question, what if none of that was really done? How do I get I guess it is, how do you know where it is without, I'd be willing to not touch anything in there, and I'd be willing to not even, if I couldn't cross it, I can access from the other side.
Yeah, and that's where I think.
But you still need a drawing.
Right. But then if you want to if you can talk to engineers to say, looking at these maps, which I believe to be fairly accurate, they have a lot of other connections as well in terms of resources to look at the wetlands map and the hydrology of the area. If they can say, in your opinion, is this feasible, or can we minimize, my footprint to get through these permit processes a little bit easier, that's where maybe they can give you a little bit of a head start to say, okay, from an engineering perspective, if you stay within this area, that's probably doable. Or, if you don't cross here, maybe you can come in from, the south side versus the north side. So, maybe if they're willing to give you that initial suggestions, that might be somewhere to start versus having them come out and do a hard delineation.
Yeah, I haven't had any luck. I mean, I'll keep trying. And you guys can't recommend anybody, so I'll just, if you went a little farther down, Peter, if you wouldn't mind, and just see the lot that we're talking about. And I just want you guys, I know you guys had looked at it before, but just to refresh everybody's memory, it's, you know, right number one where your cursor just was is a 35-acre piece there. I don't know if you can pop
This
up
one
the
right here.
wetlands. Yeah, right there, yeah. So I look at the narrowest point, you know, about 11 o'clock to the number one right there. It'd be ideal to throw a couple telephone poles across there. And, you know, I mean, I'm not talking like driving cars and anything like that. I'm just talking being able to, so then like right about where the number one is, I would put the trailer, which is just a trailer that we get parked out there, solar, off the grid. And then you would just have to, you know, that little area where I'd want to be able to access with, I mean, have a vehicle go across it, but it wouldn't be for every day. It would be to be able to get in there and just get my stuff in there that I need to, as far as, you know, products and whatever else I would need in there. And it would all the parking and all the driving would be on the west side, you know. I'm pointing at my screen, but you can't see where I'm pointing, but all on the hillside road. Yeah, so everything that would happen would be over there except for walking. You know, and I know it's easy for me because I'm saying, well, we're walking out in the woods. I mean, I'm putting a 2-inch metal pipe in the ground, and that's the only things going in the ground would be like a disc golf basket, and then the rest of it's walking. And yeah, there would be some, you know, cutting of laurel and making it open so that you could go through. But the whole point of the disc golf is that you have obstacles and you have these things that you're not clear cutting anything. And
maybe you've just narrowed it, you know, in yourself and talking about on that one little section that you would cross, you know, just doing that section and so many feet up, you know, north and south. If you know that that's kind of be the closest area, and then, you know, they can kind of maybe overlay the GIS if it's going to be very minor, you know, what we call alterations elsewhere, and the only real main, you know, disturbance is where you would have to cross in some capacity.
Yeah, and I feel like that's what I've talked to them, and I've showed them these maps, and I've said, this is what I need to do. And one of them was very specifically 35-acre piece, end of story. You're talking 10 grand minimum. It's exactly what he said to me. End of story. And, you know, and I went through four people, and then I hired, you know, so, and, you know, and it's, I'll try again. And I can maybe get on in another month, and I'll even, it'll been a while, so I can even keep this information. I'll try to write down what they say a little more specifically, but it was very, it's a little depressing right now, to be honest with you.
Do you have any other resources, you know, from the agricultural side that you could maybe reach out to see if anyone has used, you know, specific companies or, you know, maybe the Farm Bureau works with more closely?
Yeah, I've talked to my stewardship planner at APR, and I told her what I was trying to do, and she said she could check in, but I don't think I heard back from her. And I can reach out a little bit more. I just wanted to kind of give you guys an update, let you know where I'm at, and I'm at a point where, you know, something's got to happen in the next month or two, and I don't want it to be houses. I don't want to build houses in there. And then you know they're going to cross, because you know there's going to be houses in the backside, and they're going to do what they just showed on the first one, and they're going to pay the $25,000, and there's going to be houses all in the back and houses all in the front and back of it. And the plans have already been drawn up for it. So, I guess that's it. I guess there's nothing else that could be done. I'll ask. I'm going to keep asking, but I've got nothing less than 10 grand so far to start looking at this project. I don't have the means to do that right now.
So Kevin, the wetland scientists that you've spoken with, have none of them said that they'd be willing to do limited flagging in specific areas where you're maybe more, I don't know if you know necessarily, but if you were able to identify, here's an area where I think I'm going to want to do a crossing, would any of them as of now in your conversations with them, have any of them been willing to do limited flagging within a specific area, or have they all come back and said that in their opinion, they'd have to flag the entire parcel?
They said because if, and just to recap again on the parcel that's just north of that, the smaller one, the corner of Prescott and Hillside, on the east side of that square, yep, there's gonna be a 50-foot line delineated out so that I would have my driveway come in that way, which would land right at the very top of that wetland, right where the wetland starts at the north side. And yep, so then the driveway would be on that property line straight up and down. And then they said because as soon as there's a driveway there, and then if a parking area was near that wetland, you're the 100, 200 feet, you know, so they said as soon as that happens, they needed, as soon as I said driveway, they said that I needed a whole nother set of plans. And I don't remember the name of that plan, but it was, you know, and then I said I wanted to have a parking area for kids, for cars to park. And that's when two of them said that it was a whole nother ball game, like a whole nother ball game. Once you say parking area, it was, I mean, that's when it jumped like thousands and thousands of dollars because it was a whole nother set of plans. And I remember that specifically on two of them.
That might have been stormwater or drainage, Melanie.
Yes.
Yeah, I would expect so. Yep.
It was outrageous. And again, I'm just naive to this all, so I'm learning as I go, but two of them very specifically, as soon as I started parking, it was, forget it, lights out. Thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. I'll try for that short, you know, that one little area, you know, because we could do the GIS, you know, this is, you know, 326 feet off of here and 742 feet there. And I mean, I can put a pin in the ground and do that with my tape measure and at least maybe get somebody to come out and say, I just need this to be verified. And then if we had that 200-foot area verified, then maybe the commission could come out and take a look. I don't know. Limited flagging. So that would be a specific question I should ask. I'll use that term, limited flagging.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think if you can let them know, here's a specific area where I'm thinking of, let's say, doing a crossing. I'd like to do potentially a crossing here, and that's the only work that would impact that wetland area. They may be willing to do some limited flagging that would be associated just with that proposed crossing and not have to go further north or south on the plan. I can kind of see where when you started talking about a driveway, a parking lot, and the numbers started adding up, I can see how that would happen. That does make sense. But I think if you, and I know it's probably hard to do this, but if you can focus the areas of where you want to do work, in particular work that would be considered alteration or disturbance, if you can define what those areas are and try to limit them as much as possible, I think that would probably help with getting some better and hopefully lower soft costs from the wetland scientists, engineers. But also the less disturbance you do, the easier it is to get a permit from this commission too. I mean, the less disturbance done, you know, the easier it is for us to say you're not impacting the wetlands. And so that's obviously the end goal would be to minimize disturbance to the wetlands, to the resource areas, and get your permit ultimately. So I think the more you can try to determine what you want to do and focus in on specific areas where you do want to do work, and then figuring out what that work actually is. If it's not truly any sort of alteration or disturbance, I mean, I would certainly be willing, if some of the work you're doing really won't be disturbance work and it doesn't appear that it's going to be very close to any resource areas, or maybe it looks to be outside even some of the buffer zones or riverfront area. Don't know, but if that were the case, I would certainly be willing to come out and take a look at it in the field and kind of get a lay of the land for what you're thinking of doing and how it relates back to what we see for resource areas on your property.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would second that as well. I think, you know, most of us are, or all of us, you know, are willing to help and come out. You know, it's just what's feasible for you and as a end plan, you know, what can be done versus not done from either a wetlands or even just general engineering standpoint as well, that we may not be able to, you know, see just looking at the, the wetlands for, driveways or parking lots and such, but at least from maybe crossing, in some, where you're, I guess where the course would go in itself, we could probably look around and, determine what might be a better area versus not, and maybe what you cannot maybe have flagged kind of definitively, but we know kind of approximately where they are.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I had done before, and I can send it over to you again so you can take a look and see kind of what I had done, like a little bit of a layout, I think, for you, because there's an existing hayfield in the northwest corner there, and there's the rest of it's wooded. And it's funny, this map doesn't show, but there's a stream that goes, the other way too. That's not even on here. I don't know why, because I'm looking at it on the other side, but well, I'll keep making some phone calls, and then I can, if it's all right, I'll send another email with any updates. And then I think it was April 21st. You said you're going to have another, or is that next, or May? You'll have another meeting.
No, it's 2 weeks from now, 21st.
21st. All right. And then that was the only other question, I guess. Just trying to figure out. I mean, it's minimal disturbance. I feel like I'm going to do less disturbance than anything else that would ever go in there by putting in a disc golf course. Just people walking around in the woods, and you cut down all the dead trees and you clean out all the invasive, junk, and you make a little open walkways and areas, and there'll be nothing permanent out there.
And I think that's the good case that you make, that this would be an improvement what's to there, and that's kind of what we can do the give and take for. And like I said, it's just really that area that if you do have to cross, that you'd be disturbing, I think is what we would really care about in the long term.
Okay, great. All right. Well, thank you very much. I'll be back in touch hopefully in a couple of weeks with some really great news.
Great. I'm sorry we couldn't help out as much as we'd all hoped.
I get it. I understand it. I'll just try to navigate as best I can through it and see if I can find the right person to give me a hand. And I appreciate that. Maybe I will. I'll see if I can maybe get a grant. Maybe I can get a grant for it or something to make the government pay for it. I don't know.
There you go.
You never
There
know.
are a lot of farm agricultural grants out there that if you look, hard enough, they're giving money away to a lot of farmers. So that might actually be a good thing to maybe look into.
Yeah, and I've had some for fencing and everything else. I just don't know how I justify it for a disc golf course, but maybe I got to make it for the crossing first so I can access the land for logging, and then I don't know.
There you go.
There you go. Keep thinking. Well, thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.
Thanks, you
Good
too.
luck.
Thank you,
No,
too, Kevin.
no calf shit? Kevin,
What's that?
no calf shit?
No, we have, I don't know, hopefully soon, in the next month or so, the 3 females that are out there, we didn't do tests on them, but we believe that they're bred. And then, so hopefully we'll have 3 babies sometime in the next, well, what is it now? Yeah, April, or anytime now, really.
Yeah.
Anytime in the next 4 or 6 weeks. So I'll be sure to let everybody know as soon as it happens.
All right, thank you.
You're very welcome.
All right, next we have something that's not on the agenda because it's brand new to us. Somebody sent us a complaint of a potential wetlands violation. Come on, there we go. You guys can see the picture?
Yep.
Yes, I'm seeing it.
All right, let's see if I can figure
I
out.
got it.
Why is there no next? You're gonna make me do this the hard way, aren't you? Ugh. Okay, how nice. Sent us a DEP file number. I don't see any silt fence over here. I'm not sure there are any wetlands on this side.
That's an old number too.
Yes, it is. This is, I think,
Peter, did
part
you
of
have an
Bryce.
address?
Yes.
It is, Peter. It's in Bryce Lemon. It's right at the beginning where it meets.
It's one of the woods. Oh, that's right. It's at the intersection of Charnock and Woodside, right?
Yep.
Yeah, they are calling, silly things in my way now. 73 Woodside Ace? Must be Ave.
Yeah, I think they meant Ave.
Units driveway of 64 and, oh, must be Abuts driveway of 60 and 64 Charnock Hill Road. So if I pull up this again. All righty. Where that way? Where the heck is Woodside?
I think it's a little north.
(64A) and, oh, that's 77 Woodside, 73. 73, it has to be this one right here. So that's the locus. And do the pictures show, I think I showed this one already. A. Not sure I know exactly what this thing is that I'm looking at. It might be a goose on top of a thing. Yep, duck. But do we see a problem here? Do we think that's... let's keep going. Well, tell you what, I will forward this email with all the pictures to everybody. We should probably go take a look at it. I'm going to suggest we don't do it as a group just because of social distancing and timelines. But if we could take a look at it for the next meeting, we can at least see what we think is going on. People okay with that?
Yeah, did they say anything in the email of what they saw or what they thought?
She wasn't clear. She pretty much just sent the pictures because at first she just responded and said, I have an issue with a wetlands violation. And so I wrote back and said, could you please give me some more information, such as the address and what you think? And then she pretty much just sent me back the pictures with no description.
All right. And there's an address. And again, I think it's Abuts driveway of 64 and 60 Charnock Hill Road. Happy to send us more photos. And then this is just what she sent, what Tamika sent to me. This is yesterday, right? So this is brand new to us.
Yeah.
So it's 73 Woodside Ave, right?
I think she lives at 73 Woodside.
Okay.
Yeah, like her email verbatim just says 73 Woodside Ave, Abuts driveway for 64 and 60 Charnock Hill Road. And that was all she wrote. And then she sent the pictures. So there was no description of what the violation was. Some of the pictures were older too. They were from like 2019. So I don't know if she was trying to show like a before and after. I couldn't really make much heads or tails of it though.
I don't know exactly why this is a picture I've got to show everybody. How nice. She sent this really pretty picture of a flower.
Yeah, that was from June of last year.
It looks like a wetlands violation to me.
And it
Well-
looked like the pictures that she sent were taken late October this past fall, 2019.
Right, so there's at least silt fence, I'll give him that. So maybe we should go and look to, I'm wondering if this was infiltrating.
So I wonder, I think the picture might have been a lady slipper.
Yep.
Of the flower. So I'm just curious if maybe they thought just the construction in general was a wetland violation, or because I think like destruction of a lady slipper is technically illegal, but
Yeah, I think they are considered an endangered species.
Yeah.
That's the right word to use.
yeah. So I don't think it would hurt even in the meantime, asking, them maybe if they could explain again
Mhm.
what they think the violation is, but definitely us, heading out individually
Yep.
to look.
Looks kind of like you might have some logs over the fencing there too.
Yeah, this is looking a little suspicious, I agree. At least from this angle. I mean,
Do we know what house that is in the background of the picture?
no, but I will bet that with the DEP number that if we could find the sign with the DEP number, I would hope it would be close to this. But I agree. Tamika, if you wouldn't mind reaching out to ask for what the exact location is that she thinks this is happening.
Sure. I mean, I could look up, I don't know if it would help at all. I know that DEP number looked old, but I remember doing all of the orders of conditions for both of those houses on Charnock Hill and a bunch of them on Woodside Ave a couple years ago.
Yeah, what's that number again? I have my spreadsheet open. I can look it up real
I
quick.
think it was 277343, it said. Let me double check.
Where are you? Come here. Oh, right here.
Yeah.
A good call, Tamika.
Oh.
This might be the original Bryce number. It's old
Yeah,
enough.
so 343 is just Charnock Hill Bryce Estates. So I think it's for just the subdivision in general.
Yeah. And in fact, it's probably the original number before Bryce Lemon was modified and combined and all of that.
Yeah, because this was from 2006.
Yeah.
So this picture we're looking at now, if I've got my bearings right, that kind of yellowish house in the foreground, I think that's 77 Woodside Ave, and the gray one in the background is 75.
Okay.
And 70, I don't know if you remember, but we
Yeah,
walked 74, and I think it was 74 and 75
yeah,
where they were
that
looking
was
for right certificate of compliance, and 75 was nowhere
Culvert.
near done.
right.
Yeah, and it was right next to the wetland and the culvert. Yep.
Yeah, I would agree. I think you're right. That's kind of standing on Charnock, looking in.
Yeah.
I think that yellow house is the very first house.
Yeah,
Right, and I actually don't think it's inhabited. I don't think it's been sold.
Okay.
Was that a model?
I think it was, because anytime I've driven down there, it still has the sale sign in front, and it doesn't look like anybody lives there.
So you think that, oh, is this one right here?
It's the very first one. on the
77.
left.
Yeah, there we go.
Yes.
Yep.
So probably standing here because they weren't allowed to enter the property. And just looking down, or maybe standing here and looking at the house and the house.
I think, Peter, they're standing on Charnock right near the south property line of 77 and basically looking like right down the property line, because in that
Oh, right
picture,
there. Okay.
you can see the driveway to the south. You can see that in the picture on the right side of the picture. I think, at least it looks like the driveway. Yeah, kind of in the background on the right side of the picture.
Yeah.
Looks like there's a driveway back there.
Yep.
I think that's that driveway. I'm not sure what address that is. I'm trying to pull it up on my screen too. I don't know if maybe it's 60. Is it 64 Charnock?
Yep, it's 64 and 60, I believe.
Okay.
Good.
Yep. Yep, I'm getting
Oh,
the
I
same.
see. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I think they're looking right down the back property line in that picture. But it would be good to get a little more detail just so we know what they think the issue is and the specific area where they're seeing this potential issue so that we know where to look.
Yeah, I'll definitely email her back. I had kind of thought and hoped that she would provide that when she sent the pictures. But it came in so late yesterday that I didn't pursue it beyond that. But I'm happy to reach back out to her. Do you want me to say anything about a possible site walk, or do you just want me to get info at this point?
Let's just get info. Actually, you can mention that the commissioners will go out and look at it, and we will discuss it at the next meeting.
Okay, I can do that.
I would expect it. I thought this was more of that this was actually a depression. I must be remembering wrong.
No, that's that huge culvert you could walk through.
Yeah, okay. I just don't see contour lines that show that. That's all. Because the contour lines are too gross on this. That's why.
Yeah, so it's that huge.
Yep.
Yeah, those are, I think, 10-foot contour lines shown.
All right. That
Not a
makes
lot
sense.
of detail.
All right, so we will all go out and, or as many of us as can, we'll go out, walk, look at the, look, I imagine that whatever complaint she has is going to be in this area. So that's where we should focus. And this is an easement, right? That's not an easement.
No, I think that's the shared driveway, probably.
Oh, yeah.
There might be an easement to those properties that share that driveway.
Okay. Woodside's not public yet, is it? Skip, to your knowledge? No, I didn't think so.
No, they were working on that for town meeting. But
Okay.
We have open orders, so we're allowed on there. If that's what you're.
Well, except that we do have a stay the hell away order also. So I will reach out to Clee to let him know that we'll all be coming out over the next couple of weeks to look at it. Just so that, I mean, I don't think Clee will have a problem. His problems with other people in the in the town. I think that I can convince him that we're going to be allowed on the street just to look around at this because we've received a complaint. And if I say that, I'm sure he'll let us on. Okay. That is, goodness gracious, 2 hours in. We've got all the discussions done. So now, I'm going to do the easier one first that we have on a vote, which is the certificate of compliance for 34 Brintnal Drive. Melissa, Jared, and I went out on a mini site walk day. The same day that we did the lots 3 and 4 that we did the hearing for, we also looked at 34 Brintnal Drive. Jared, do you have any comments?
No, I'm good with this one.
Melissa, do you have any comments?
Nope, I'm all set.
We still don't know what the hell those things were in the ground down the
Those
hillside.
pipes.
Yeah, the pipes.
Yeah.
The holes.
That was pretty bizarre, but you know, I didn't. Did anybody see a problem with that site that we need to? Anything to prevent us from signing the COC?
No, it looks really stable.
Agreed,
You know,
yeah.
besides the weird holes, pipe things, you know, that slope, even though it's pretty steep, was pretty stable. I don't think there was really any brush down there that would make it to any wetlands, so.
Yep. Then let's, if I could get a motion to sign the certificate of compliance where I can sign on behalf of the entire commission.
So moved.
Second.
We have a second from Skip. Where the heck is my list? There we are. Opposite order again. Gentilucci,
Aye.
Danza,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
Cannon,
That's just for you to sign on our behalf. Aye.
aye, and Crane, aye. All righty, so now, Melissa, how are you coming on those orders?
I'm all set when you are. I can read them out.
If you have them typed up, we can look at them. Let me see if I can find my cursor. So I can, do I stop share? Oh, the button that says stop share, maybe that's a big help.
You want me to share now?
Yeah, go ahead and share.
All right. You disabled it for me.
All right, hold on.
Awkward.
Try that one.
Oh, there we go. Oh, that's not it. No, that started my video, not my screen share. It said host disabled participant screen sharing. If you upped me to co-host, I think I'd be able to do it.
I think I just made you a
Very good.
co-host.
Okay. Let me see. Ready? Can you see it?
Yes, I just need to move
Okay.
it. I just need to move it over here where it can be recorded on TV properly. All right, there we go.
So this first one that I highlighted was for the solar.
Yes.
So do we want to, I'll move to issue the order of conditions with our standard condition plus these 3 extra special conditions.
Now, Maria mentioned a 4th one from the DEP.
Oh, did we want to add the geotechnical?
I think that might be best.
Okay, so geotechnical reports shall be submitted to the Conservation Commission prior to construction.
Awesome.
So 4 special conditions.
4 special conditions. I'm okay with that. Anyone have any other thoughts or suggestions? Going
Looks good
once,
to me.
going twice. Then I will accept a motion to sign the order of conditions with these special, or allowing me to sign on behalf of the entire commission. Skip has just said so moved.
Second.
Oh, that's right. I have to get my list to a roll call. Damn it. Cannon,
Aye.
Clark, Danza,
Aye.
Gentilucci,
Aye.
Crane, aye. That's 1. So this is the one for 134, right? 134
Yep.
Wachusett. Standard plus MED watering setup shall be inspected and approved prior to use by. Nice. Okay. Other discussion? Any other conditions? Hearing nothing, I will take a motion that was just like the last one. And Skip moved.
A second.
And a second. Cannon,
Aye.
Gentilucci,
Aye.
Denza,
Aye.
Clark, Crane, aye. Okay, can it really be that simple? Are we really, Tamika, am I missing anything?
No, I think we touched on everything.
Great.
Tamika, you should oh, sorry, you should have these in your email. I'll just send you this last sentence we added.
Perfect. Thank you for your help with that.
Yeah, and if you need help with the EDP, just give me a call.
You got it. Thank you.
Tamika, just so you know, I had picked up just before COVID started the paper copy of Carl Hundgren's, Quinn Engineering's report on Brintnal Estates that he sent to us electronically.
Oh, okay.
I will just hold on to it until sometime when we get together.
Yep, that's fine.
Do we have any more business before the board? I just want to mention one thing. Oh, that's the thing. So something we haven't spoken about since it's been so long are the IDs for the lanyards. I did meet with Jason. We got one last piece of news. We cannot use the registry photos. So we need to send him photos. Send them to me. I will send them to him and we'll get them and we'll get all the IDs made up when he has time based upon everything else that's happening in the world.
Okay.
So prettiest photos, please. Make sure it's your face.
I don't have any photos.
Bill, you should take a screenshot of your picture right now. It's perfect.
Looking very official.
Just a grouchy old man.
You look like a sportscaster, though.
Am I allowed to look like Mike Nicholson?
Only if you want to.
I will accept a motion. We have a motion.
Second.
Oh, damn it. Roll call. Cannon.
Aye.
Gentilucci.
Aye.
Clark. Danza.
Aye.
Crane. Aye. Is that all of us? I think so. We
Yep.
are adjourned.